Okay, I'm at 572 Missouri Avenue doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, basically anything that would be concerning to the buyer. The access location is the stack on the middle right of the basement behind the refrigerator. And we're going to go out as far as we can. This is a cast iron stack. And so based off the age of the home, I do expect it to be clay under the floor. It's kind of at that border line. And so there's a bunch of stuff that got pushed in when I gained access. So we'll have to see how much I can get through here. Try to push that stuff through. But as we can see, it is cast iron just until it turns, and then it goes into clay. So I pushed all that junk out of the way. It fell out of the clean out area. It was just building up, and so I have gone into the clay. Clay's a pretty good material, but it does tend to allow root intrusion just by the nature of the connections. I should say the sections are small. They're only about 3 feet in distance. So 3 foot length pipe, they're 3 foot in length, the pipe sections are, excuse me. And so one of the more common things we find is root intrusion because of that, because the packing in these areas at these connections tend to break down over time, just kind of shrink, and then it allows those roots to gain access. So doesn't mean anything horrible, it just, sometimes requires some maintenance. And so I know that the line has been obscured, but should be able to see a lot better on the way back. Looks like we have some kind of longitudinal cracks in that section. It does look like the line is holding shape, but there were some longitudinal cracks. It's probably been that way for quite a while. So what we're really trying to do here is I'm going to push all the way out, and then we'll see if we can get the lens rinsed off, and when we pull back we don't have as big of an issue with the line, with the camera being obstructed or getting anything on the front, just because as you're pushing, as you can see, you tend to plow things up in front of the camera. So when we pull back, we don't have that issue. There's a toilet paper there in the way, and sometimes just that toilet paper can dam the water up just enough to where it covers the lens on the camera. The camera lens is only about a ½ an inch in diameter, so it doesn't take much. But I do have something up against the camera lens. I can't tell what that is. So we're going to keep pushing until we can get rinsed off. I'm not sure what I'm pushing through. It looks like I am pushing through most likely some root intrusion. Hopefully we can see well enough when we get out that we can see what this is on the way back. Alright, so we're out 73 feet, and I'm at a spot where I don't believe I'm going to be able to get past right now. And of course there's no way of seeing in the area. Okay, here we go. It's good news that it kind of opened up, and I may be at the main, but I can't really. I'm going to try to get the camera to go into a spot where I can rinse off. Looks like we are turning down into the main, and I'd like to be able to get there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video for a second. I'm going to pull back. I'm going to pause the video, go locate, and then I will, and then we'll pull back and hopefully be able to see, maybe run some water while we're at it. All right. So the good news is we are all the way at the main. It's pretty easy to tell with the locate there, and so I've been running some water, and so I'm hoping enough of this makes it through and flushes out the line so that I can. There we go. And so this is where it falls off into the main, and so we were talking about there. And so as we pull back, the only problem is that as we pull back, we're probably going to go underwater here. The good news is about this area is I believe it is off the property, and so it is holding water. So from 70, you can see it flashing, so that's not a whole lot of water. We want to be able to see what's going on though. Yeah, I think there's some roots in there. I think I just saw it fall closed. You see all that stuff falling over the camera head. And that's why it was so rough for me to push through this area. So there's a lot of buildup, and now you may be close enough to the main, or it could be on the Metropolitan Sewer District. Problem is we want it to drain, but all that stuff is in the way. So here we are. I'm going to push back out and see if I can move some of this stuff out of the way. Hopefully we can get the water to drain better. I mean, most likely, based off of what I'm seeing here, is probably a little bit of root intrusion that's catching a bunch of other stuff, and then what we'll do here is, this is where it's falling off right here. I am going to, well, this is at the main. I think what we're going to need to do is probably get the line. I'm going to shut the water off and see if this drains down at all. I'm actually going to push back out about that 70-foot mark where I come out of the water. There we go. And then you can actually see those are probably roaches, but they could be cave crickets moving around in there. But I'm going to pause the video, turn the water off, and see if we can get some of that to rinse on down the line. Okay, we've got the water turned off. I'm going to try to pull back here and hope that more of this has drained. Still see the water draining. We'll let that sit there for a minute and see if that dissipates. Wish I knew what that thing was waving in there. Is that a spider web, or it's kind of a weird little thing they got? So right there at the main, and then we're going to mark to see. There's still a lot of it flowing through there, so I may have knocked a bunch of it loose. Hopefully I did. When we get all that stuff out of there, and then it'll drain down and we'll be able to see what is going on here. But I think I'm going to drop right around in here. I think it's going to drop off, and there's an offset right at the tap. And that would be the responsibility of the Metropolitan Sewer District if that was causing an issue. It does seem to be that there is some backup in the area, so there may be an offset. We're just hoping that this line, that this water can dissipate enough to where we can start seeing what's going on here. This is kind of boring dead air space here, waiting for this to drop. So I'll pause the video for a minute and just let it sit. Okay, I'm just going to have to pull back. I can't, sit here and wait the whole time, but you can see the build up there at 72 feet, and then it drops off. And it's still holding a lot of water here. So it may all start at 72 feet, which would be the tap on the main, which would be the Metropolitan Sewer District's problem. And you can see all the buildup in the line, and this doesn't look horrible, but it could be that that's all starting at that tap at that offset. And since we can see a little bit here, it could be building up and building up backwards here. So the fact that we can see a bunch of this, it's actually good that we did the inspection, because you can see all this buildup. And I don't see any kind of like major root, but I see all this buildup. And so this will need to be cleaned, possibly re-inspected, or if you could get the Metropolitan Sewer District to come check the line for their tap and that offset. They're probably going to want a cleaning and a re-inspection in this area, because I think the line sunk and it comes back about 20 feet. So between 52 and 72 feet, it's holding a lot of water, but it's also clogged, so that partial clog could be causing all that water to hold. So so far I didn't see anything major as far as up to that 52-foot mark, but then you have a lot of debris and stuff built up, and then at that 72-foot mark you have like an offset there that I believe is where all this is originated from. So you see some longitudinal cracks and stuff like that, but the line is holding shape. It's not collapsed at all. If you're worried about it, you could get this lined in that area, like 31 to 36 feet. There's some longitudinal and horizontal. So I mean, you can kind of see it. It is starting to. It's pretty much. It's holding shape pretty well. I don't know how long that could have been there, but so I'd say roughly 31 to 35 feet. There are some. There are some cracks, and so I mean, if you were worried about it, you could possibly get it lined, but I don't see any root intrusion or anything in that area. It would be kind of a precautionary thing. So most of the line looks good, and this all could be caused by an offset tap out on the main, which would be, again, the sewer district's problem, but they're probably going to want the line to be cleaned completely and then re-inspected so that they can have some visual verification that it is that there is a problem there. Sometimes you can get them to come out and check it themselves, but in a lot of situations they want full evidence of it before they come out. So you can see this is all right at the base of this stack. That's why we went underwater, because now the camera's hanging vertical. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner. And we are out of the stack. And so the line overall looked like it's pretty good for the first 50 feet or so. When you get to that 52-foot mark and it starts to back up, that's where it's unable to be fully inspected, obviously due to that, and and then this all kind of seems to stem from something at about 72 feet, which is right at the tap on the main. So I'm going to recommend a cleaning and a reinspection, and also to contact the Metropolitan Sewer District about having that section inspected. But like I said, they're probably going to want the homeowner to have evidence before they come out and spend any time on it. So, those are my recommendations there. Luckily, there's no root intrusion that I could see. Maybe some of that could be some of the stuff at 72 feet, or between those areas, maybe there is some root intrusion there, but it seems like it's all stemming from that 72-foot mark. So I just, again, recommend contacting the sewer district and or having the line cleaned and re-inspected. So that's going to end the inspection at 572 Missouri Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio.